Hello, welcome to your reading. So today we're going to be doing a reading from the energy of happiness. So really nice high vibe kind of energy coming through today for this reading. What we'll do is we'll shuffle these, get the cards that will come through. I was thinking about what to do, kind of read like I do every day when I'm going to do readings. I've left it a little late today, so it might be a little darker because the sun's pretty much about to go down over here. But yeah, I thought, you know what? Let's keep the good vibes kind of going. It's a new month. Let's set the intention for this month to be one that fulfills our happiness, right? That has happiness or happy moments installed within all the other moments that we have in life. So let's get to it. Okay, I'm going to take this one as well. Oh, there's a red wonky. All right. All right, so let's take a look at your cards. So if you're choosing pile number 1, you have Ascended Master Serapis Bay and the Clear Calcite with Karmic Grace. There is your card. Alright, for pile 2, you have the Angel Isda and Carnelian with Nourishment. I always forget to say this, but pile 1, the crystal master number is 333. The crystal angel number for pile 2 is 444. And for pile 3, you have the Archon Barbelo and Picture Jasper with support. This is crystal angel number 444. Alright, so I'm going to leave these here as always. Feel free to jump into the description to go straight to your video. I'll leave some timestamps there with whichever one you pick, or if you pick multiple, feel free to watch them all. But I'll leave you to take some time and tap into your intuition and see which one is really calling you. Remember, this is from the energy of happiness. Hello, welcome to your reading pile number 1. So today I've chosen the Ascended Master Serapis Bay and Clear Calcite with Karmic Grace. If you don't know too much about Serapis Bay, I've always seen him like depicted. This isn't how I kind of feel, but like seen him depicted as like Egyptian or something like that, like very ancient kind of civilization. As like a higher being, kind of feels like more of a light being, like kind of like guidance, right? A guide, feeling like a spirit guide in a sense. Karmic grace is really an interesting kind of sense, right? Karma, we kind of think is not always negative. I think it's starting to shift, especially in the West, but more of like generally associated with something that, you know, you get what you kind of deserve, or what goes around comes around, that kind of thing. This karmic grace does feel like a break from that, or maybe a deeper understanding of your own karmic ties to potentially why you've come here. That will be interesting if that comes through. Remember, this is a reading from happiness, so this could be also just a break from that feeling of heaviness. Giving that to yourself. Okay, so we'll start to the reading. Just trying to see, I think I want this one first. Let's see what the message from happiness is for you today. While I'm doing this, I'm listening to some 80s music. Just because. A lot of oracle cards came through today, so I feel like most of this is going to be oracle cards. And that's fine. It doesn't have to have tarot, it doesn't have to have oracle cards, right? It's just a message. the message is what's important. These ones need a bit of a shuffling. Okay, what does pile number 1 need to hear in regards to a message from happiness? Pull one of these cards at the end. There is some kind of melancholic type energy coming through for this one. Okay, this one then. All right, let's see what happiness has to say in regards to your message today in the cards. Okay. So you have dolphins. I mean, the symbolism of happiness, right? Kind of like fun, play. Dolphins are generally seen in that light. Just because, you know, it looks like they're jumping out of the water, playing. There's probably some kind of communication. I'm not a dolphin expert, but there's probably like more to it than just like what we see is like, oh, they're having fun. Probably doing other stuff, right? But you know, that's the whole kind of vibe, and they always are around in like groups or pods, as they're called. But you've got cooperate with others coming through. I feel like this is like, I don't know, it feels, I'm going to get more cards obviously, but kind of feels like stepping out of yourself and observing in some sense. Because stepping out just gets you out of your own kind of like mind, and maybe stepping out to look at yourself just to see what's your focus, what's been buzzing around inside you, because then it'll help you, you know, decide what you need to shift or move, or maybe not even that, just to observe and see, like, oh, I'm living my life like this. Does that align with what my purpose is? Because we've got karmic here. Does it align with what's bringing me fulfillment, joy, happiness, of course? And of course, the basic kind of message here is cooperate with others, is work with those that feel like it's time to build a connection or to upgrade the connection you're already in. Maybe just communicate. This cooperate could be just communicating. Cooperation is really good for learning how others tick as well, because we can have an assumption, especially online, right? We don't know these certain people, or we think we do, especially like celebrities and things like that. We have like an idea based on what they've decided to share with us. And fair enough, they know they don't have to share anything, or they whatever, but you know, it's that when you're like closer or have like more understanding of someone, you understand more of the person, why they're the way they are. Also, you can understand more of who you are and why you're the way you are. So there's like this growing and learning type energy coming through from there. And maybe that's why certain people are popping up in life, or certain people pop into life. It's for an opportunity to grow, not just an opportunity to harm. You know, the most difficult people have generally, for me personally as well, have been like the biggest kind of teachers, in a sense. If everything's just been really smooth and easy, then those have been good breaks, but there has been like less growth, right? It would be nice if we could just grow with like everything going smoothly, or like, you know, put in a bubble and protected the whole time. But that's not quite how it works on Earth anyway. Oh, okay. Flippin'. You've got clunker, broken, and beautiful. That's really interesting. This card always makes me think of the things that we go through. aren't the things that define us, right? We decide what defines us. They can help shape, but it like, you know, when it comes to how we respond or how we feel about certain things or what we decide to do with that situation, that past situation, that relationship that ended, the relationship that went well, you know, all that kind of information, everything we experience, we decide. It doesn't have to be the thing that controls us or says, oh, you're going to be like this now because you went through this. You don't have to take any label on that you don't want to. So just know that you are, it's really coming through as like you're a spark of the divine, that kind of thing. I know it's a bit up there, but like it really does feel like you are, you know, made in the image. You know, I think there's like that saying, I'm not too super religious, but that, you know, made in the image of God, that kind of thing. So you already are, you know, perfect in a sense. You already have everything you need to grow and learn and thrive in this life. And so it's not seeing yourself as broken, but as someone who has accomplished many things or gone through challenges and come out the other side. Now, what you do on that other side is up to you, essentially. Truths revealed. This is an interesting one. It says, the monster behind the curtain. It's interesting with karmic grace, and especially here with cooperation with others, there is this opportunity to, I guess, have some kind of connection or bond. And is that with yourself? That's why it felt like, dude, are you stepping outside of yourself and looking in more than others? This cooperation isn't working with your team, yourself, that kind of thing. Either way, it's going to be up to you how you interpret it and what feels right, of course, because the message, like I'll be the messenger, but you're the one that works with that tool or that message. And you know, there's no judgment from anywhere. That all comes from within. So decide what is really honest and true with yourself. This is feeling like, be honest and true with what's going to bring you happiness and life and thrive, like Vive, right? It's all coming through very cleanly. There could be something here with like, don't be afraid of your shadows. Don't be afraid of the things that have happened to you. You don't have to be like a victim to that any longer. Okay. Inner peace, yeah. This does feel like it is working on the inside, that masculine and feminine, especially sometimes if we're like, you know, seen as more of a masculine or feminine person and the opposite kind of like wounds us, right? Like in a relationship or like something like that. We can kind of like skew very quickly to the left or the right or wherever, masculine, feminine. This is just an example, and it can almost mean that every kind of like person that we decide is like a masculine or feminine that's wounded us in the past is like they're going to do that again. And so it can be like already starting to like, I guess, get on the defensive when nothing's happened. So this is a good point to like really understand, where is all this coming from? Why do I feel this way? Not about judging it, just about comprehension, I feel. Because you deserve to be cared for and supported, especially though by yourself, looking at yourself as worthy of happiness, worthy of support, worthy of love. So inner peace, I do like that. You can take this also, like I'm going probably pretty deep, but if this is more of like surface level, you can see this as like an opportunity to hang out with good people, remind yourself of like, you know, all the good things that come into life, like gratitude, that kind of thing. Find an opportunity. I'm saying this month, but it's just because we've switched over. This is like for you now, and obviously into the future whenever you're watching this. It's an opportunity to gain balance in life. So how do you do that? It has to be, that's why it's like truth and the moon, like its openness. You have to be honest with yourself about how you feel and what's happening. Do you need to share it with people? That's completely up to you. That's not the card saying you must do it. But does that help? Does talking about it help? Because whatever the past had doesn't have to hold ransom, I guess, or hostage your happiness. Doesn't have to be the thing that holds that. So it is a tough path, but it's much more fulfilling and successful if it's done in a way that you feel is appropriate for you, of course. But openness is like, start with yourself. Can you say these things in your head? Can you say these, like, what happened to yourself out loud? You know, those kind of things. It's all about being free to be open, not fearful of criticism or judgment, because you know that you don't criticize or judge yourself for what's happened and you don't have to explain it to anyone. Okay, interesting cards coming through. So I'm just going to grab one of these because I think we're talking about like a situation or a family dynamic or something like that, you know, something from the past that's really triggering this kind of energy. So we'll just get a card for like what that's speaking to. Okay. Don't think they're going to get too detailed. However, you've got the Vigilante and the Talisman. When I was creating this particular card, it was someone who kind of got pushed and pushed and pushed until they had to react, right? It's like when a whole group of people get put into like slavery or into a situation where they don't have the opportunity to thrive or expand. And so it's like, okay, well then I have to do, like, I feel like I need to go do something, or I need to push back because this isn't right. And so here it's talking about direction, which the talisman always points us in where we need to go. So it's like feeling like this is a right draw. Breaking point and challenges. So that's what I mean by breaking point, is like getting to that point where it's like, okay, I've been kind of push. The universe has kind of pushed me, push, and I've not responded. And now it's like, it's so obvious that I need to, that I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go forward with this. So it could have been a point where you felt you were kind of like, especially with Broken and Beautiful, right? You're pushed to a breaking point, pushed into a difficult situation, or into your so-called not self, which is like, you know, how people sometimes say, oh, this person got pushed so far, they showed their true colors. And I was like, well, that wasn't their true colors, right? They're not normally like that. That's just the side of them that came out because they felt pressured or pushed or forced into a situation that didn't feel right to them. So that's how it's kind of feeling with this card. Okay, I'm going to put that there. Let's have a look at your tarot cards. Oh, did I put them all upside down? Nope. Got the 8 of Wands, the 5 of Pentacles, the 7 of Swords, the Knight of Pentacles, the Strength card, and the World card. I mean, that just paints the picture, right? It just paints the kind of picture of where it's come from. Now, this could be something you've already processed, could be something that you don't want to process. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt, and also, this is ultimately to bring that like inner child, that inner happiness back into your life. And it's not always just by going to get what you kind of like will think will work. This is processing the stuff that needs to be cleared or needs to be set free. So you've got the 8 of Wands. Generally, that's like swiftness, moving into the right direction. You kind of like kink off to get back on. Sometimes that can be like a, you know, a detour or something like that. But it's quick. It's quick. This is like a quick acknowledgement of whatever's happened. This could also be something that happened drastically that caused some kind of like kind of like being disowned or being kicked out of home, almost like that kind of energy. Something that was just like very quick and then pushed you into like potentially survival mode, right? It could be so many things. It could be like finding out a partner was like unfaithful or something like that, or finding an ex now who maybe wasn't at the time, was like spending money on gambling or whatever, you know, whatever it is, or maybe you were doing those things. You know, there's so many scenarios, but it was something that was very like abrupt, it feels like, to push you into this situation. So what can you do about the situation? I feel like these cards down here are kind of telling the story. Take your time with this. Like, it is a night, but this night isn't about rushing and just like charging into the shadows to deal with it. This is about taking time and plan, and like you can see here, dropping a lot of the pentacles as you walk. He's not on the horse, he's off the horse. He's in bare feet, he's connected to the earth. You know, he's kind of exposed, I guess. He's exposing his feet to the environment. Because it really does help you see your value, your strengths, your perceived weaknesses, perceived strengths, those kind of things. Openness and vulnerability is a huge strength, I feel anyway. Because it means we're open and not closed off. Even vulnerability, that can be like the same as openness in a sense. Like, you know, you're either open or you're closed. And it's about taking it step by step, not about having to go from 0 to 100. It's not about that. It's about, you know, steady steps forward. I feel like then with the World card, you start to comprehend and understand not exactly what's happened from the past or the situations that have got you to where you are now. It's more of like an understanding, or at least an acceptance, that this cycle has finished, and I don't need to hold on to a piece of it anymore. I'm sure things will pop up in the future, and you know, go backwards and forwards with that. But this is just about coming to at least a more improved feeling towards yourself, towards whatever's happened in the past, and then you can let in that good energy, that high vibe energy. I would say light. It feels like light. It is happiness, but this is like, you know, regardless of just trying to force happiness in here, it's really about fulfillment and comprehension, understanding, learning more about ourselves, and not letting the past dictate who we are. So, interesting cards coming through, especially the Vigilante. It kind of matches in with the 7 of Swords, right? And the 5 of Pentacles. It's kind of like being pushed to where you need to respond or act, those kind of things. Now, this doesn't have to be a place where you sit in for a long time. This can be quite quick, and it can also be done in your pace that feels right to you. Overall, I feel like if you need to speak with people, speak to the people that you can, you know, be honest and open with. Be honest and open with yourself first, of course. But all this whole reading, I know it's about happiness, but it really is about openness and finding calmness within. It kind of like the inside starts working, the outside radiates nice and cleanly. Excuse me. See if there's anything else they want to say about this one. I feel like with this card being the one you chose, there is something here with, this is part of your path or part of your story. This is part of your goals, let's say, of why you came here. Not exactly how it happened. It wasn't like you were supposed to go through whatever troubles had popped up. But it's like, well, since those have popped up, now this is an opportunity to, you know, release some kind of old pattern, let's say, so you don't have to go through it or deal with it again in a future life. Okay, I feel like that is it. I do want to pull one more card for some reason. I just want to see why. I feel like I want to say focus on this energy. Focus on this next card's energy, because this will help you. This will just help you feel, you know, in an energy of like, okay, it's time, or it's a good place to start bringing more of myself back into myself. We'll see what card it is, because I can't really explain it very well. Okay, and so we've got the last card is protection. I feel like this one's coming through, like I said, is like, what does this card exactly mean? But when you feel safe and secure, and you're not, you know, being impacted by the external, that's when it's time to look into this. This is where you can also feel safe and secure, or feel protected. I feel like guides especially are coming through with like, you know, you are protected, but just because you are doesn't mean, you know, you're at a point where you want to start working on this. You have to feel this within. This has to be an honest and truth. This whole thing, this whole reading is about honesty and truth towards yourself especially. So It's an interesting one. I love the oak tree. Lightning coming through because they can be struck by lightning, but they don't... It's not like they don't falter. It probably impacts them, right? But it doesn't stop them from living and growing. And I feel like no matter what's happened, that's kind of a message here too, of like, just because you've been struck by lightning once doesn't mean it's going to always happen with every kind of person or anyone that reminds you of this person or anything like that. You still learn and grow even if you have gotten really, like, you know, at a certain age or anything like that. It's not really... Age isn't really like a... It doesn't really mean anything for like growth, spiritual growth, personal growth, development, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's your last card. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Hopefully this has helped you in some sense. Remember, this was around happiness. So while this can feel kind of quite deep, it is also ultimately just trying to prepare you or get you into a vibration of happiness, of peace and happiness. So I'm going to leave these, but thank you so much for letting me read for you. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading pile number 2. So you've chosen the Angel Isda with Carnelian and Nourishment. Really nice card coming through. It just really feels like this is a good time to fill yourself up with like love, fill yourself up with happiness, fill yourself up with like something that's going to be fulfilling to you, that's going to be honestly fulfilling to you. So really nice card coming through. It's kind of like putting you know, kindling back on the fire to restart the flame. You know, you don't want to chuck a big log on there when it's almost burnt out. You want to put some paper, you want to put some like small kindling wood in there. Kindling? Yeah, kindling. Words. It's interesting. I'm listening to some 80s music, and the song playing now during your reading is that I think it's called Don't You Forget About Me. It's pretty much from Breakfast Club, right? It's probably not from there originally. It's probably just like song, but it's like well known from Breakfast Club. Watched it a couple of times actually. It was an interesting one. I watched it as a teenager, you know, in the would have been like probably late 90s, early 2000s, and it was from the 80s, but those kind of like vibes, even though, you know, the only difference was cell phones, some of those feelings you could kind of understand, right? So I don't know how this is playing into your reading, but it's like very strongly popping in with a whole bunch of scenes from there, and I haven't watched it, I don't know, like 10 years, 10, 20 years. It's a long time ago. Okay, this one's definitely coming through. I love that for you. Wow, they're just popping out. Alright, so a couple of cards have popped out. You've got Go For It, Earnest Enthusiasm. I love that earnest enthusiasm. Like, it has to be honest, right? It's not about faking it till you're making it. It's about doing stuff that's actually what you want to do. Or at least going into a situation or like a party or something instead of being like, oh, I don't want to go. Like if you have to go, or like, you know, you're kind of like, you don't have to do anything, right? But you know, it's like, it's the right thing to do, let's say. You know, finding the good, just say, well, you know what? While I go here, even though I may not want to be here, I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to make sure I have some nice food. I'm going to make sure I talk to people that I generally like, you know, that kind of thing. It feels like may as well just go in with a good attitude and not worry about something that could happen. Just go in with like, you know, whatever happens, I'll be able to deal with it if it's negative, and I'm going to focus on trying to have a good night. That feels more honest than being like, I don't want to go. That's probably honest, but at least this is like honest, but it pushes you, it like helps you into a good mindset for whatever's to come. It's interesting, it's like there's nothing you can't overcome with the knowing card. There's a giant dragonfly. Dragonflies always make me think of transformation. And what a big transformation. We think of butterflies as a huge transformation from the caterpillar chrysalis to the butterfly. But dragonflies, you know, they start as eggs, they go down to the water, they hatch open, they kind of have some grabby things to like eat whatever fish, sometimes small tiny fish, and then they swim up. I guess I haven't seen them actually do this, but I've kind of seen them at the top of the water kind of like separate and transform out into the flying dragonfly. So it's kind of like a wild transformation, right, from aquatic to the sky, which is quite the leap. Anyway, let's have a look what else comes through. I think I'm going to take both these. Yep. All right, since these are already out, I'm going to start with these and then I'll get onto the tarot. There's also these cards, and I think I'm going to grab one near the end of your reading. Interesting. Ladybug, you've got notice the little things. I like this. It kind of helps us, like I said, with that situation, going to that party. It's like an exciting event, right? But you're not really keen on going. Like trying to find, try to find the things that you actually enjoy. Sometimes it's like going to a family thing and you may not get along with everyone, right? Focus on the people you do get along. Be happy that you get to see grandmother or like a certain parent, or you know, a particular cousin that you got along with as a kid or something like that. You know, try to take the no, don't put yourself in situations where you have to deal with toxic energy or you think is going to trigger you, right? Try to avoid it as much as possible or eliminate as much as possible. Be cordial, but you know, this is the kind of energy that's coming through, that stuff that's going to help you radiate and burn. If there's nothing negative coming up, I'm making it probably sound a little negative. Definitely not trying to, but like if there's nothing that's coming up that you don't want to do, this could be about just taking gracious moments or gratitude towards the little things. I was listening to one lady and she has like a list every time she wakes up. She says all these things she's grateful for, and when she goes to sleep, it's just like a reminder of like, oh yeah, regardless of what's going to happen today, I still have this, I still have this, I still have this. Even walking outside, sometimes we're so in our head, we go jump in the car and drive to work or something like that. If you go outside, sometimes I remember I went outside and I just wasn't really needing to go outside, but I just went outside, had a sit, and I saw a couple of like butterflies. There was this huge grasshopper, and it was a way away from me, and I don't mind bugs too much, but I don't really want them on me. They don't need to be on me. But you know, it's just like, oh yeah, there's still like a whole bunch of life and living. It's not all about like whatever's going on in my head. So it just helps you kind of like break things down, even though you're not thinking about it. And that's the whole point. Sometimes you don't have to think about it. It's just about observing and being. Okay, let's have a look what's over here. You've got love coming through. I like that. Definitely needs to start a bit of like excitement and fire back into life, right? The nourishment, love, not just in like the romantic terms. It's like doing what you love, what draws to you, what kind of sings to your heart as well, and putting some energy and time into that. No matter how big or small it is, it's not about size exactly. It's about like what feels right and what actually is exciting to you. Sometimes that could be, you know, every day you buy a coffee and it just gets kind of routine. It's like smell the coffee, like, you know, smile and like be grateful that you're able to get a coffee and someone made it for you and, you know, it's all done. You know, those kind of things. Or like, I think there was like a Japanese guy who kind of had like a book or something, and it was like at the end of whenever he transacted, like paid for something, he kind of said thank you. I think it was called arigato your money, which is like thank you your money. That kind of thing. It's like small things. It's like, yeah, you're spending money, but you've been able to exchange this like, you know, currency for something that you need or want. So it's always nice to be grateful or gratitude towards being able to do that. Oh, I love this for you too. This could be starting a new practice. This could be the month of new practices or continuing old practices, getting back into your spiritual practices, that kind of thing. Could also be something completely different. Of course, it's a new beginning, something new. Could also be like something small that it's just been kind of left out of meditation or left out of morning practice or not noticed, starting to be really present. So I think this helps. This really does help ground in whatever you've been working through, whatever you've been going, working towards, like goals, that kind of thing. Just really, really helps. I would say with the knowing card though, it's just a reminder you've done kind of like the hard stuff. That's all saved or banked in knowledge and growth. Know that there's nothing really out there that can stop you from going for goals that you feel really called to. I really like love and new beginnings as like the center of your reading. Could even bring in like a new relationship, right? Or a start of a connection. Just kind of have to be aware of like what's going on around you. Because you did choose nourishment, and it's about fulfilling your happiness, or filling up on happiness, filling your heart space with unconditional love towards yourself, towards like even anyone. I always try to pick someone sometimes that it's kind of like challenging, right? Might be a celebrity or a politician or something like that. And, you know, think about them and try to send positive, good energy towards them. Because, you know, it's like when you deal with, you're angry and you're dealing with the angry person, no matter how much you yell at each other, no one's going to listen. No one's going to really feel it until you both either say, or one says something that's really, really underhanded or, you know, to hurt the other. So I kind of see that with energy work too. Why should I just send it to all people that are, you know, why should I separate certain groups and be like, I won't send it here because they don't deserve it? You know, it's none of that. It has to be equal for all. And so I'll do that sometimes, especially if I'm feeling in a particular way or someone's popping up in my mind. I'll try to send it good energy. We did this practice in my old work in New Zealand. This was over 10 years ago now. And it was called like red card, green card. And it was pretty much like, you know, pretty much at the end, it was like, if you keep giving someone negativity, they're going to give you negativity back. But if you keep giving someone positivity, they might still give you negativity. But over time, you know, they'll eventually give you a green card back and start giving you positive back. And maybe they never will, or it takes a lot longer, right? But it's about like not letting someone else's red cards impact you. Just because they're giving you a whole bunch of red cards doesn't mean that should have to impact you. Now, obviously, you don't want to be doing that all your life, or be in that interaction your whole life. But most of the time, it's like we have like maybe 3 or 4 negative interactions with that, and it stays in our head rent-free, I guess, as it was said. You know, people used to say. I don't know if they still do. But, you know, rent-free in your head, meaning like that situation keeps rotating around in your brain. So it feels like instead of the 3 times that's happened, it's like 5,000 times it's happened, right? It really ultimately is about not letting other people's shitty attitudes stop you from your good energy, right? So I feel like that's kind of coming through. Well, that was a long story, but I don't know. Sometimes I just start talking and it just goes on. So I hope that kind of helps. And it's kind of like food for thought. It's definitely something I think about. I was kind of really grateful for the company. They really did teach us a lot about like interactions and things like that. And it was like, you know, how other places will have like group buildings and stuff like that. And I've done that here in Australia, and it's usually been like go out for dinner or something, or go play a round of golf. And that's really good for team building. But these ones were really like psychological, almost like understanding comprehension. So yeah, even though I was in a call center, it wasn't anything like high up, but yeah, there was a whole lot of growth there. It's really good when a company invests in you know, self-development or healing self or things like that. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes when I was going through it, I thought it was just nonsense. but like years later, it's helped. It's popped back up in my mind. So you never know when an interaction is going to really help you. And a piece of knowledge is really going to come back and help you. Okay, I'll pull some cards now. So these will be the tarot cards. So this is your message from happiness. Remember, this is about happiness too. And I guess, you know, we have to talk about everything. Because everything and anything can impact our personal perception of happiness. I like how they're just popping out for me. Makes life easy. Okay, so let's take a look. You have the Strength card. Very nice. I feel like this is a big card to come through all the time. Interesting coming through next to the Three of Swords. I'll come back to that. It almost looks like, you know, discovering or developing on who you are, what's important to you, that kind of thing. And then a challenging moment comes in life. And like in hindsight with the Queen of Cups, it's like learning so much about yourself, and like even from like a spiritual level, like death always makes us think of like life after death, right? Especially if we lose someone that's really, really close to us, it can be so much easier to just cling on to like an old belief. But you know, and that's absolutely fine, of course. But there's like, on the other hand, it also helps us think about our own life. There were certain things that have happened to me recently with like a family, someone in my family passing, I think it was like about 3 weeks ago now. So still pretty recent. And that made me really think of like, why do I hold back on allowing myself to go get something or purchase something, right? There was no reason for it. And it's just like, just do it. Just go do it, get it. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it does, does. But you've got the means or the funds to be able to go do this. Why not just go give it a go? Give it a try. Sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. Why not just give it a try? So, I mean, with these cards, it really just touches on everything you experience is an opportunity to grow. You know, the things that we leave rolling around in our hearts and our mind, if they're not happening to us anymore, then you have an opportunity to process it and not to like forget about it, but just more feel like it doesn't have a huge hold over your happiness, right? Over your life, over your current feelings, environment, mental. It's kind of like all part of your own growth and development, because she feels very spiritual here. She has like the most psychic kind of energetical card here. Water, feminine energy, very like flowy, right? Very manifest. I was going to say manifestive, but you know, manifestation is like part of it. It's like this divine feminine with like this emotional, spiritual energy. Really is about creation or coming up with like brilliant ideas. I feel like the world would be so much better if we had more openness to like the energy of feminine energy being like, you know, the thing that doesn't just create it, but just like conceptualizes so much of like what we could have in the world. Anyway, that's kind of coming through. I'm going way off tangent with your reading. I don't know why. Not purposely trying to. It's just we're like flying off into the happiness sunset. Got the Emperor coming through. I love that with the Strength card. Kind of grounds in that fierce energy in a sense. Which is kind of interesting because, you know, he's sitting on Mars, it looks like, probably because like Aries Mars, that kind of stronger, that strength, I guess, that strength energy. You also have the Lovers card with love. Goodness. If there is anything coming up for you and you're looking for love, you know, pay attention. Pay attention, that's all I have to say. Feel like you've done enough of your own kind of work as well to like let this be open. It doesn't mean like happiness is won or gained by someone else giving that to you, but when you're in like, you know, satisfaction with yourself, it's kind of like those people who are like, yeah, I stopped looking because I learned how to kind of love myself, and then someone just popped in. That's kind of how it works, because it's like you're open and ready for it. People will be like, oh, I'm really ready, but they're still holding on to the relationship they just had, or the relationship before that, or they have baggage from the last relationship. And you can kind of get that, right, when you have a date with someone and there's a lot of baggage, or they're talking about the ex or something. It's like, oh, okay, still need to process this. So, this is like something coming through, which I feel is really nice. It's interesting with the Three of Swords in line with the Lover's card. Not always the best kind of like feeling looking at it, but it could be overcoming something, having a choice, or just making a decision that kind of fills you up and takes out this kind of challenge. It's quite a graphic looking Three of Swords too, because it's like heartstrings, right, tied, and that's way more visual than like the sword stabbing in, because sometimes it can feel like swords, but it can also be like your literal links or certain things have popped in, and it's like, it tugs on the heart space. There's definitely an opportunity to move beyond that, any of that pain. And look, we've got new beginnings. Got the Empress. It's not the full card, but the Empress is that feminine energy who has ideas and kind of imagines what could be, and then births it out. You've got the Empress and the Emperor with the Lover's card in the middle. So I don't know what's happening with you. Maybe there's something coming through. I really do hope it is something that will not just provide or be like a big kind of like celebration for happiness, but also like, yes, that, but also just like, I don't know, just something that you really enjoy that can bring growth and happiness to your heart space. So it's really beautiful, this reading. Okay, I just want to get like a more extended message on the love card coming through, because it is centering. So what is this love and what is this new beginning? I just get one card, please. New beginning for pile 2. What is this? What kind of energy does this entail? Okay, I'll take this one. So you've got Zombie, Vivi is Aizan, and Struggle and Lost Souls. It looks like it is leaving the past behind. And that kind of does pop in with here. So it's like, what is this entailing? It's not like this is coming up. It's more like this is starting to be let go. Because you can kind of see in traditional or like, I guess movies, that zombies are seen as kind of mindless brain eating, kind of like shuffling right along. And it's kind of getting out of that energy. But like also traditionally, they're also seen as like souls who have lived in like slavery or something like that. And then a magician or a wizard or whatever has kind of enslaved their soul to continue. So it's like pain in life, pain in afterlife type thing. It's not fantastic, and you don't, and like whatever's finished, you don't have to hold on to that. So this is really about allowing something much better, much brighter, much more self fulfilling than the past that has been. This has helped in some way for sure, this kind of like Three of Swords energy. And it's kind of hard to say that, because it's like when you lose someone, how is that good? And it's not about like, oh yay, they're gone. It's more like, what has this taught me? Even if I wasn't looking for like a lesson specifically, but what have I learned from this? What do I feel? Even if it's, no matter how it feels, it's not about judging it. It's just like being very clear with yourself. But we've got Go For It, Love, Enthusiasm. Does feel like something new is coming through that you'll enjoy, and that you can, pave the way for some new experiences, which is very cool. All right, this is exactly what I see in your reading today. If you have any questions, I know it was a bit of a long reading, feel free to drop a comment down below. Otherwise, take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Hello, welcome to your reading, Pile 3. So, message of happiness, or the energy of happiness. You've got the Archon, Barbelo, and picture Jasper. I'm not too familiar with the Archon, Barbelo, but you might want to look that up. It is coming up with the Crystal Angel, so it must be some kind of like angelic motif or kind of like connection. So support coming through. Interesting, because I was kind of guided to change the music that I've been listening to all the way up until this pile. I've been listening to the 80s music for some reason, so kind of like historic. But this one is, what do you call it? Hand pan music. and it's called Fading into Dusk. So it's like something finishing or some kind of like, even here kind of like looks like it, right? It just popped up, so it's kind of like makes sense with the pictures that's coming through, but it's like this something setting or finalizing. Okay, grab these ones first. So let's get some cards for you. But yeah, I know I use these cards a lot in readings, but they're such nice cards and they really do cover a lot of bases with what people want, which is generally like, you know, crystals and a card to help pick. Well, it says both. It says many things. It has like an entity or like a earthly being or a heavenly being, crystals and, you know, card numbers, all that stuff, all that good stuff. Okay, I was going to grab that anyway, but wanted to jump out. Oh, this one. I'll leave these ones to the end again. Getting this one. It's a whole bunch of cards that kind of want to move, but that one felt, oh look, see, there's lots of cards that want to come out for you in this particular pile. So we'll take these three. I might just start here and then we'll have a look at the tarot. So it'll help kind of like energize the tarot. All right, so you've got Lion. It says here, ask for what you want. Interesting. There's like the small change or shift with this little blue butterfly. It's like, ask for what you want. What is that? It's kind of like, be very clear with your intentions. Don't try to like go in a more wavy sense and be like, you know, kind of this, kind of that. Be very clear. If you don't know, ask yourself the same questions. What do you want? What is going to bring fulfillment and happiness? Where do you need help? Who do you need to speak with? You know, ask for what you want and support. Who do you really need to speak with? What kind of person is important for you to start chatting to get this message out there, this energy out there, you know, that kind of thing. Okay. Like, I like this one. This is the ready to roll card with loyalty and devotion. So it's connecting with someone that you trust, right? Or someone that has the abilities to help break things down. And it could be, you could be on like a path of like, well, I have this, I have that, I have that. That's what I, you know, I felt like I needed. Like, is that what you actually wanted, or was that what you told you wanted? So it's kind of like deciding like what is really important to me and sharing that, or like asking for that from the people that you trust and care for, because there has to be a flow of give and take. And I'm trying to do like the yin yang, I don't know. Anyway, there has to be like, you know, it can't be just a one-way street. It has to be a flow back and forth. Sometimes we want that, but we don't allow it to come in by not saying what we want. So to find happiness, it's really touching on your connections, the people you trust, talking it out, being very clear with yourself, with others. Oh, I like this, the star. Yeah, I think it's like, it really is like putting yourself on, putting yourself out there. It's kind of like six of wands, you know, that person who's being seen. I know it's the star and kind of might make you think of the star card, but this is like, he is the star. He's not looking for the star. The star is kind of like about hope and, you know, following, you know, guidance and that kind of thing, or following towards a goal. But this is feeling like being that star, seeing yourself as worthy. This is how you can bring in like very high vibe, happiness energy. Okay, there's a lot of cards, so I'm just gonna flip them all. You've got security. Where do you feel safe? Do you feel safe? This came out in pile number 1 as well, so check that out if you feel called to it. But you've got openness. This is about being honest and open. You can't expect someone to come in to support you if you don't allow it, right? And it's like, oh, see, no one supports me. You know, there's people that are like, oh, no one supports me, and then someone's like, oh, I can help, and they're like, no, I don't need any help. and then it's back to, see, no one's supporting me. That kind of thing. I'm not saying you're that, but you've probably heard or seen those kind of like stereotypes, right? And this is like touching on it. It's like, it's time to be very clear. And it's interesting talking about like the song fading into dusk. There's like this in the background, like, you know, things finishing, finalizing, like this darkness kind of energy coming up. It doesn't mean negative. It's just like an opportunity to really focus on like what's important, like your survival, the things that are around you, the people that are around you, your own kind of inner world and soul. You've got flexibility. So it kind of does touch on, you know, happiness isn't about getting everything that we want. It feels like it's about understanding why we want it. Is it because we want to feel a particular way? Is it a certain feeling we're chasing? Is it a certain mental stimulus we're chasing? Is it many things? Is it a physical sensation that we're looking for that will bring that kind of good energy in? This is much deeper than I feel like happiness, or like what we would see as happiness. This feels very deep, especially with you choosing support. It's like that need to support has to come from within. I know I say that, I've said that with every pile, but really it does. Everything comes from within. When we know that everything that we have to be successful, to be fulfilled, you know, whatever that means to you in life, is coming from within. Because you'll find the people that will help you get there. You'll find the relationship that will help you feel those things, or, you know, that kind of stuff. But it has to be felt and understood from the self first. All right. Okay. So let's see what else wants to come through. But I like Ready to Roll, because Ready to Roll just feels like, you know, it's time to move out. It's an interesting story from the video game. I won't, well, you know, go check out Monster Garden. It's by a friend called Zach, who's also a card reader. He actually created the deck. But this group is like, there was one of the guys, his name's Tukus, and he, you know, was scared to tell his friends, this group, that he didn't want to be part of the group anymore. He wanted to go do something different. And, you know, at one point it got to a point where he just came out with it and kind of like apologized and that kind of thing. And they were like, you know, all we wanted you to be was kind of happy. They understand that, you know, if you don't enjoy doing the things that we do, then you should go do the things that bring you joy. And so that's exactly what this is about. It's like, instead of doing what you think is correct and focusing on like, oh, but if I shift here, then it could blow up everything. It's like, it's not going to. It's just going to keep you in a state of potentially not feeling the feelings that are available out there for you. Hope that makes sense. These happiness readings haven't been what I thought they would be. I thought they would be like love and light kind of thing, like, you know, woo. But it's really cutting in deep. It's going within, and I feel like that's, you know, a better message than everything's perfect, right? It's not about perfection. It's about self-discovery and understanding what that really means to you. What does happiness really feel like to you? What does it look like to you? All that kind of good energy. Okay. So you have the Knight of Cups. It's almost as like putting yourself back out there. I don't mean for like a relationship, but it's like getting yourself in a position where you can start to attract something, a situation, money, or whatever it is, you know, relationship, anything like that. It's like starting to head into self-fulfilling kind of like self-care, or like self-love type stuff. The Nine of Pentacles, that's very nice. Got the Page of Cups too. Yeah, kind of like thinking, it's kind of like a mindset of, I can't get what I want because you don't know what I've been through, you don't know my story, you don't know who I am, you know, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, sure, there can be a bazillion excuses. I'm not talking about excuses, I'm just saying like, this is absolutely available. You know, it's got pigs flying here, which generally is a saying of like, oh yeah, sure, when pigs fly. but so much, like if you look back to when you were younger, looking forward, you probably couldn't imagine like cell phones and things like that, right? How they are now. When I was a teenager, they came in, and all they could do was text. At that time, it was black and white. Like, what was that? Like Alcatel 1210 or something. I can't remember. Like really old phones. But what they can do now, I would never have imagined. I would never imagine that I could FaceTime people and talk to them. I remember watching sci-fi movies and stuff like that and being like, that would be really cool if that would be true. And now we've got it, and it's like, it's not really, like, it is cool, but we can't take it for granted, right? We're like, yeah, it's just normal. So it's interesting, those kind of things. And I think COVID really helped with, not that COVID was great, but like a part of that kind of grew from it was being able to connect with people online much easier, and taking time to like get the understand the programs and how it works so that we could connect. Right, you've got the Four of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, and lastly the King of Pentacles. Okay, I would say don't be afraid to open up. It's really just like keeps getting there. It's like be available, be open, be flexible as well. You're not going to lose what you have by expanding or exploring a new area of life, something new, something that sings to you. I was watching an interesting documentary. What was it specifically about? It was kind of like about relationships, sex, that kind of thing. So it was touching on stuff that's kind of seen as taboo and things like that. I'm not saying you have to do something that's way out there, of course, but like think about something that is just really interests you. Maybe watch some documentaries, or watch I don't know, something like some kind of thing that you're interested in. Maybe there's like hints and tips or like little ideas that can be like, that'll be interesting. It doesn't have to be like, sex party or something like that, but it could be like planting a particular type of herb or vegetable or something like that, or it could be cooking a vegetarian or vegan meal, or something that's like a traditional recipe from your country or from a different country, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be anything that's outside of your comfort zone. It should definitely be within your comfort zone, but more expanded than potentially the kind of what you're holding on to, what you're keeping close, because this is about expansion. All of this is about expansion. It's about seeing ourselves as like worthy to go get what will bring us peace and happiness. I like the Nine of Pentacles, especially this one, because it doesn't look like she's rich, right? And Pentacles we kind of think of as like wealth and getting a whole bunch of money, but she's got enough, and she's learnt a whole lot of lessons because she's kind of gained the Nine of Pentacles through hard work. She hasn't gained it from no risks, right? It's like I can't remember what it was, but like I remember reading, I don't really watch the Kardashians, but I was reading something where this person was talking about whether one of the Kardashians who had like a business was a self-made person or not. And sure, she might not have had any risk of failing, let's say, because there was money to fall back on, but she didn't have to do anything necessarily, right? And I'm not trying to like defend or judge or whatever. It's just like, this person did something with what they had that they felt was important to them, and it was successful. So, good for them, right? Sure, she could have failed, it could have lost a whole lot of money, but it would have been fine financially. So this is something that's within your comfort zone, but also outside of your comfort zone, if that makes sense. It's not going to be like a huge risk where you have to be enslaved by opening up this particular bed and breakfast or something, and now it has to work. Like there's no other option. It's not touching on that. It's not talking to that as like truth. It's really, really just talking to growth and expansion. This can bring some kind of feeling of happiness or adventure into life. I think it might even bring in something more fulfilling, because even here, this King of Pentacles doesn't feel like he has uber wealth, right? He's sitting in looks like a beanbag with his friend. like a loyal companion. So it does feel like this is what happiness looks like to him, what success or material gain looks like to him. And I think that's the big thing here. The big idea or growth opportunity here is it's about finding what looks like to you, what happiness looks like to you. All right. They're really coming through really fast, and they're moving my mouth way too quickly. So it's quite funny. They want to say so much. Okay. So I'm going to pull one more card. I feel like we'll just tie up this reading with, you know, what can you do now to help with this whole story? You've got the apprentice and the paintbrush, and it says making magic, artistic and studious. You can kind of see here she's practicing. She's an apprentice. Apprentice is someone who's learning, who's growing, getting into this mindset. Even if you're like 90, I know I watched something where a person was getting interviewed and they were in their 90s and they had written their first book in their 90s, right? So there's no real excuse unless you want there to be an excuse. This is like, go out and get what you want. Go do those things. Go do that pottery class if that's what's going to make you happy. Go do that art class, or, you know, watch some videos about planting a particular fruit or something. And if that's what you really want, and learn, because there's a whole lot of really good information out there. I've got so many food recipes because I was living like a very, I don't know, a weird vegan, let's say. I'm not a vegan, but like a weird vegetarian. I was kind of eating vegetarian stuff, but you know, there's so many recipes out there to make your own stuff. And I was like, this is so easy. Why haven't I been doing this? And there's no excuse. I just didn't look for it. And now it popped up one day and now I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I can do this. If this person can do it, why can't I? Doesn't seem that hard. And so, you know, that's been something that I've really loved exploring. So as an example, that is for you. Be flexible with it. You know, tell your ego that it's okay. You're just going to look at this, and if anything comes of it, then it comes of it. If not, I'm still safe, right? I still have enough. I'm not going to break the bank. And why am I working if I'm not going to spend it on things that are going to give me happiness, or for myself or the people around me? So, long-winded story, but hopefully this helps you, Pile 3. Interesting, maybe have a look at Archon Barbelo as well. Maybe there's some kind of like message there for you if you have a Google of that, because I don't really know. I'm assuming it taps into supportive energy, or being there for others and yourself, and letting others be there for you as well. But yeah, it's an opportunity. This is a time for you to embrace happiness. Go find it. Go get it. Okay. Anyway, that's exactly what I see. Take care of yourself, Pile 3. I'll see you in the next reading.